Roleplay. Roleplay never changes in this post-apocalyptic online cringe fest. Our planet is currently in worse shape than a world full of unreliable plan flakers. So in order to plan it properly, these underground bunkers called vaults were made. Outside the vault is an unforgiving wasteland, like robbing a bank and spending the money on your sinful wants. Now, while in this environment, you can only worry about your needs. And those needs consist of needing to carry more guns than Big Pun on an average night out. The only other thing is making sure your roleplay is heavier than a cosplaying obese wizard. Our first story begins with this scrappy young lad right here. His name is John Von Sean. He has a fucking stupid name since John's an uncivilized raider. Mr. Sean traveled to an abandoned store where he met a strange asshat person. John then politely greeted the acquaintance. Howdy. Oh, I forgot to mention he's from Texas.
Evening.
Just looting. The raider was at least honest. I would say about half your time in the wasteland is spent looting, then 10% of your time is spent actually shooting guns, while the remaining 40% is spent talking. Lucky for John, there was no one to shoot or talk to, so he had a clear path right to the small town of Handgunville, USA, which has a booming population of 1. That resident is whoever has the best shooting skills, like the owner of the hut at the top of the hill in a militia-ran village. Our low-level thug protagonist was now dressed like a slutty caveman or a cowboy Thor, considering the hammer he was wielding. Later on in his adventure, he discovered an AK-47 next to a bus like it was Soviet Russia. Then he met a stranger that questioned their relationship status.
Friend or foe?
Friend, of course. I'm just trying to find my friends.
Let me see you. Front side. Why shit. Hide.
Do what? The wacko was being vague and brief, so it probably wasn't very wise of John to be in the John so close with this guy like they were in line for a crowded bar bathroom piss. The two for sure mates that always urinate together discovered a large log cabin. John was more of a solo queue kind of guy at this time, and he was worried about having his back broken in the mountains, since this area was looking suspect to him. So our hero that has not done anything heroic yet decided to jet. John walked alone on the corroded roads of the wasteland. Bullet casings, body parts, and blood was his only company until he ran into a group of amateur improv actors. You're treading on some thin ice, boy.
You think this is a game?
You want to repeat that, you fuck? Any of you know where the highway is?
East.
What a bunch of polite troublemakers. One of the gentlemen was nice enough to pause the dispute to give John directions. The same group of kids playing in the streets was down the road when John passed by again. You gonna fucking shoot me?
Yes.
That's right.
Ah! My leg!
John was on the way to the top, but of course some old friends wanted him to share some of his clout with them.
There he is!
My man!
Found ya!
What did I do?
Be an ugly son of a bitch!
That's not cool. Wait, so y'all raiders?
Hell yeah! Let's rob people.
The raider crew tried their hand in the stick-up game, but their robbery was stopped by lasers like a gang of old man bandits trying to get through an infrared security system. John fired back, but he was not sure if he was hitting, like talking shit on the internet. His raider friends still do not know that crime does not pay if the currency is bottle caps.
Don't move.
The hell?
We will all kill you.
Tisk.
Drop your shit, bud.
Well, John's buddies got him into some life-threatening trouble. This is why you don't join gangs, unless you go to prison. Then it's just about staying alive, which is something this pell-mell forgot how to do. Our next story is about an average settler named Blake Bow. Blake is a nice fella, but he looks like the Grinch if Tim Burton decided to make a remake. Blake found a palace in the middle of nowhere, with big-ass head statues larger than him. An empty clip on the floor paints a picture of danger that could be framed behind any of these doors. Instead, it was just spookiness, like when Courage the Cowardly Dog opens doors. Blake also found some frightening ghouls. Blake defended himself against basically a zombie, and after killing it, another undead creature wanted Blake to use him for target practice, like a helpful but suicidal friend. This green-haired guy was an expert gamer. He knew to check every stall for that one enemy on the toilet. He continued shooting more of the demon grandmothers in tacky sweaters. That looks like the dual-wielding god right there to me.
Damn it!
Hey.
I wanted to clear this out.
Oh, sorry. But was Blake Bow really sorry? He wanted to clear this place out too. Mean Green Blake received a shotgun in the basement, like he was hanging out with a coterie of stoners. He was dual-wielding a shotgun and a pistol, for unbalanced recoil action like sumo wrestling while drunk against a huge sober person. Each room was filled with ghouls for John to shoot, also 2 teammates he needed to avoid shooting. They took a pause to let those lagging behind catch up. Then the dungeon quest was looking almost finished. Blake opened up the door to the next room and saw a giant bronze turd known as a Deathclaw lurking around. He did the smart thing of letting the others go first into Death's claws, but the horrifying lumps of mashed up wet dirt brought the fight to us. The cockroach took up 4 tiles like if radroaches were real. This creature radiated hate for the humans and their gunplay ways. After enough bullets, we brought the icon into its reanimated yet dead state. There was a second Deathclaw looming around in the other room. This caused the gang of Fallout boys to bounce since they were a bunch of bitches. Blake was busting caps while Snake used his sword on metal bars like a well-prepared prisoner. These scavengers were seeking the potential loot inside these lockers. Blake never gave up shooting like a dedicated director. Both of them still tried breaking in while Blake was bleeding out, but that didn't matter because the chance of getting new guns was more important than life itself. These 2 idiots ran into a break when the propane man came to flame. Whoa, look at that amazing explosion, but it was not enough to open up what they desired. Guns were now confirmed to be on the other side, so everybody started working together, and eventually they made it through. Their prize was a stash of handheld 50 cal cannons, and with this many Desert Eagles they can stop any flock of birds, because I'm sure there are better armed groups out there than these 3 stooges. The new best homies chilled at a house where Purple Elvis stabbed a box TV until it turned into a modern monitor. Blake joined Snakes in his anti-technology statements. Then everything began to fight back. It could have been ghosts, but I think these dumbasses pissed off the monster house, so they ran again with the speed of a slug trying to cross an intersection. The squad then stood into some trouble like they were loitering outside the wrong store.
Blake, oh shit.
Take this bong rip.
I don't do drugs.
There's a pencil in my left arm. Ow.
You will cease smoking.
We need to get out of here.
Oh, I will.
You got one I can light up?
Cease.
Monty Warren withdraws the cigar from his mouth. Wayne Snakes McClurry sighs deeply.
Happy?
You will drop it and step on it.
Monty Warren smirks.
Alright.
Excuse me, Sir Maximus.
Blake Bow pulls out the eagle to flex.
Yo!
I'm just flexing.
Can I please walk away from this?
Blake Bow puts away the eagle.
Proceed to do so.
Actually, wait a second. What if I told you some really weird shit was happening? In the house, right there.
I would not believe you. Begone.
I doubt it as well.
Nah, man. We went in there, and all the shit was flying around.
Fine. You'll have a look with me.
Deal.
If you are lying, I will behead you.
So, just got slaved?
Really?
Yep.
Why does he hate smoking so much?
Who knows? You stay.
Okay.
And dye that hair. You look dumb.
Oh, I see. You're a bully too, just like your master.
Red is superior color.
Ghosts got your friend.
Damn.
Better leave now.
You're free now.
Well, somehow Blake's friends got them out of the ordeal by using guns and not boring talking, but all you got to see was the dialogue. My bad. Blake was still in a lot of pain, but at least he has a nice sword now. He also just got a job as a guard for his friend's shop. The gig didn't pay, however Snakes really cleaned up the place, and Blake couldn't just say no. Blake eventually made his first trade with his medical guy. The dude healed him for a gun like an under-the-table biker doctor. People really have no money to waste in the wasteland. In fact, the currency is bottle caps, so only vintage soda drinkers and alcoholics are rich. Anyways, this was the reason Blake Bow was so bored. Blake abandoned the shop because he'd rather hear the rumbling of a machine gun instead of the occasional haggling customer. Like many retail employees, he had a lot of pent-up aggression, so he went to a ghoul shooting range. Then it was time to mellow out by eating some glowing mushroom fungus. Blake snacked on Mother Nature's drugs and tripped into a new way of thinking. Blake's new thought process included seeing your hair differently and discovering when you die, the afterlife is nothing but sand at the bottom of an hourglass. Our final story is about a trooper named Ronald Easter. Ronald roamed the land by himself, anywhere he wanted to go, but not there, because those guys look more experienced at everything. The safari hat wearing jackass got a big break on a case and received a combat shotgun in the settlement. Then he power gamed his way to finding desert eagles, but he was not powerful enough to get in. Ronald was minding his own business when a yogurt-colored Mohawk man claimed he shot him.
Give me one reason why I don't shoot you.
What did I do?
You shot me, didn't you?
I was shooting the window. My bad. You probably got hit by some glass. I want what's in those lockers.
That's okay, I guess.
Ronald kept on and Bebop left him alone. He later found out it was some blue-eyed soy boy shooting from a far range that made Ronald take the blame. Down in the basement, someone already cleaned house, but left everything behind like a hoarder. So all Ronald had to do is grab a pickaxe and leave. After mining his way through, Ronald Easter ditched his little bitch pistols for the big dick pistols. Damn! Now that revolver will really help him compensate. Too bad later on Ronald did not stand much of a chance when he got into a battle that people he was associated with started. Like some typical tribal warfare bullshit. Poor guy was drugged into his death by others, like hanging out with the wrong crowd. Which is exactly what he did. Overdosed on bullets due to peer pressure.
We know that most of you came here for one thing.
Luke, your friends!
Hey, another kid's wanted to be a quarterback. I wanted to make games.
Remember, what about the just works?
They look pretty good. Me too.